For the fantastic smattering of applause, console room. Hello, happy 2025. How you guys doing? Now, I do appreciate the compliment about nice hair. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I'm Miss Shannan Paul, so thank you very much for joining us. I am supposed to be facilitating a lovely conversation with one of our guests of honor, who is still MIA. So, we can do a couple of things. We can start a sing-along. We can... Did anybody bring their D&D characters? We can do that. I'll go grab my kind of thing. We can practice the questions that we would ask Nicola when she does get here. There's a couple of things that we can do. We can do an impromptu. Let's talk about the best of Perry in the meantime until we get it. So do we have any suggestions from our audience as we stretch a little bit, because I'm sure that we will eventually find our GOH. So any suggestions from the audience on how we kill a little time? No, you're like, that's why they brought you, lady. Yes, in the back, what do you think? Yeah.
Maybe we should sing.
What do you want to sing?
Sing a song.
Sing out loud. Sing out strong. Sing of good things. You got to keep going now. You started. There we go. Sing of happy, not sad. It's almost to the point that if you don't know the words, you can sing along anyway, because we're going to get to some la-la-las. Are you guys familiar with the song? There's quite a lot of la-la-las in just a couple of moments, so we get to that. So we're almost there. So we're like, so we get to that, so we're almost there. So we're like, don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing. Sing a song. Now we do it. Here's how it goes. It goes la 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 la. One more time. Here we go. La 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 la. Now we have to teach you the words because I didn't bring them. So we can do it as a call and a response. So I'll do it and then you sing it back. So we're gonna start like this. So it goes like this. I go sing,
sing.
Sing a song.
Sing a song.
Sing out loud.
Sing out loud.
Sing out strong.
Sing out strong.
Sing of good things, not bad.
Sing of good things, not bad.
Sing of happy, not sad.
Sing of happy, not sad.
Back to the beginning. Here we go. Just sing.
Sing. Song.
Sing a song. You're just like, there's some people going, let's just go ahead. We'll keep going. Sing out loud. Sing out strong. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing. Sing a song. Now we're back to the la-las. Ready? La 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 la. One more time. La 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 la. You know what's funny? Is that when I first learned that song, I learned that song from Sesame Street, as most of us learn most of the things. I feel like I learned most of the core skills that I needed from Sesame Street, the Electric Company, yes, the Electric Company, and then Schoolhouse Rock. Right, so Schoolhouse, that's sort of most of the stuff I really know. So there are so many things that I learned from Sesame Street that I didn't know as a young person that they were actually songs that were hits and other people did. So I think I was about 25, and I'm like, oh, there's a group called the Carpenters, and they did a song. I was like, that was everybody. Luis came in and did the Spanish part on the song. I don't know. I knew Kermit sing. I know the Kermit version. I know a lot of that stuff. That's it. Most of the things on my playlist, or I think they would sound better if the Muppets had performed them. Don't you think? You know, yeah. Most things do. I agree with you. Most things do. I had this morbid conversation with a good friend of mine who is also a Muppets fan. We were talking about when you die, what song do you want them to play at your memorial or your funeral? And it's, yeah, and I know it sounds morbid. I mean, it wasn't really a morbid conversation we were talking about. We were talking about, oh, and so the song that I selected was The Rainbow Connection. Right? Thank you, yes. I like that you did that. Like, it's like rock and roll, but it's Rainbow Connection. And they're like, yes! Not because of anything in particular, but I want people at my memorial to feel the way that I feel when I hear the Rainbow Connection. I don't want to say it. That's why I'm like, oh, I want them to go, oh, that's very cool. That's all good. So does this happen every year? Am I the only person that this has ever happened where one of the people that were supposed to be here have showed up? Is it the first time? Thank you for telling me that. Well, yes, but they wandered off in the woods. I don't even know if we had a Nicola sighting today. Oh, so she went up the elevator. She's like that thing. Let that other lady talk. We're just gonna talk. We're just talking until Peter gets here. It'll all work out. What? She's fashionably late. I love it. Gotta think. It's all good. I'm like, I put on eyelashes for this woman. I was like, oh, wait, I'm talking to her. I was like, oh, wait, I'm going to, you like the boots? Temu, get them now before the tariffs. Shop all of your things. So thank you very much. I liked them enough that I immediately went back online and bought the red ones as well. So, because that's what I do. I don't know how you feel, but if I find a thing and it fits, I don't. The gentleman and the male presenting kid probably don't care about this, but all of the women and the female presenting people, if you find a thing and it fits, don't you buy like 3 more? You buy 3 more. Yes. Psst, psst. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right. So we're gonna pretend like we didn't have a sing along and a bunch of other stuff. So we're going to back up. So can you start over? No, you can't. You have a microphone. Reintroduce me. I'll come out so I can bring her up appropriately. Okay.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Console Room. Please welcome Miss Shannan Paul to the stage.
Hi, everybody. As our ghost voice from the back of the room said, I'm Miss Shannan Paul. Welcome to 2025 Console Room. Give yourselves a round of applause for joining us. All right, by round of applause, who is joining us for the first time? Anybody new here? Thank you very much for being here. Everybody else who's been here before, give them a round of applause for being part of it today. We have amazing content each and every year here at Console Room, and so our next guest of honor who's about to come to the stage is, of course, no exception to that. Please give a warm round of applause to our next speaker, Nicola Bryant. Which side would you like to sit?
I don't mind.
Okay. And then we'll turn this on for you.
I went and got my heated jacket, it's so cold.
Oh, my heavens. But honestly, like, I know that people have already warned you about this. This is honestly kind of a heat wave for us.
Except in here.
It was -2. It was -2 like a week and a half ago. And all of us went, it makes us hardy and well-preserved. So we did. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Oh,
we
thank you.
appreciate it.
You have a fabulous look you're
Oh,
rocking
thank you.
there.
I did it for you. They heard that story.
Oh.
I was all like, oh, wait, I'm hanging out with her. I'm actually going to put my false eyelashes on. You were that fancy. But I'm also I really am just grateful. It's been part of my gratitude practice all week that I was going to get to speak to you because I have had the wonderful fortune to interview a lot of people, and I'm excited to talk to you because you have a couple of things throughout your career that I have never had the opportunity to talk with people about before, and also to discuss just the great work that you've done just so as a woman and a female presenting performer in the industry and all of the different things that you've done. So thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, we're here till midnight.
Yeah. Fantastic. So now that you've had a chance to warm up, we are so glad that you were here. And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't start with this story, and I know that you've talked about it a lot, but I've never had a chance to talk to anybody who was the epitome of fake it till you make it. Like, we hear that all the time, but it's amazing. Like, every time I've heard in other interviews you tell that story. So if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, the fact that you were faking your accent through so much of it. So can you start by just kind of telling that story so we can lead into how Perry came to be?
It's a long story.
We got time. Would you like some water? I'll pour this for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's very kind. Thank you. Sorry. I was in drama school, and in the final year at drama school, you do a lot of productions, 3 or 4, in which you do your best to try and get agents to come and see you so that hopefully you have a career after drama school, because there is no guarantee of that. And we'd done a Shakespeare, we'd done a Chekhov, we'd done a modern, so we'd done our Pinter, and then we were going to do a musical. Oh, so my heart sinks, because I used to do musicals before I went to drama school. I'd done some, amateur dramatics, and I used to sing at Guildford Cathedral, which is where they filmed The Omen.
Okay.
I
will never visit that. I don't horror, just so you know, Nicola.
So I'd done some, soprano choir singing stuff. I knew I was not going to be a musical actress per se. That wasn't going to be my field, but I could hold a tune. I could do that. But in my drama school, you had to audition to get a singing tutorial. And every year they'd take just a few people because they didn't have enough spaces to give everyone a singing lesson. So every year I would audition, and the first year they were taking the really brilliant people.
Okay.
So I thought, okay.
And you're like, not me.
I'm thinking, no, that's not me. I'm not belting tunes and stuff like that. But so I thought, okay. Second year, I thought, now I'll get a singing tutorial. No, second year, they took the people who were completely tone deaf so that they could become a little bit more musical. Well, that wasn't me either. So in my final year, I thought, I'm finally going to get a tutorial. And I was either not bad enough or not good enough. Either way, I fell between the cracks. And I was like one of 3 people in my year of 30 people who didn't get a tutorial at all. So now we're doing a musical. And of course, all the teachers, all the singing teachers, and they were all like, oh, it has to be my pupil, and my pupil will be playing the lead. And we were going to be doing No, No, Nanette, the musical. Yes. And we were doing the American score, so that's great, we were doing it. And so I went home very depressed, going, oh, we're doing a musical, and I'm going to be third bucket and spade from the left in the back row. I'm not going to have a single word to say, and if I haven't got an agent, how am I going to get one with this, and so I was feeling a bit depressed about it. But at the time, I was secretly married, because my life is always that interesting, secretly married to a Broadway star. And he said to me, so if this was a straight play, which role would you go for? And I went, well, I'd go for Nanette, because I'd be obvious casting as Nanette. And he said, well, that's what we're going to do. So for 2 weeks, I practiced the songs. I knew I could do the dance stuff. That wasn't a problem. And I knew I could do the acting, but we just practiced the songs. And if you know No, No, Nanette, it's quite difficult score to sing. But
does anybody know No, No, Nanette? No.
I'm not singing any of it to you, so you don't have to worry.
But see, here's the thing. I normally am not this pushy. Just a little, just give us the amuse-bouche of it, because before you got here, normally I'm going to advocate for the audience, because before you got here, I bullied them into a sing-along.
Oh.
So that we had something to do.
No, Nanette.
No, we didn't know the words to that, so we did the song sing with the la 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 la. So,
I like a la la.
Yeah. So you don't have to do award-winning. We just need to know.
No, Nanette. Okay. That's all I hear. All the notes are just slightly off from where you think they should be.
Gotcha, thank you.
So they're all, it's a bit like singing Sondheim. It's not your obvious tune sometimes.
Fair enough, yes. And thank you for that.
That's okay. Please don't record that. And so I'd been practicing the songs, and then the school decided that for extra practice for us, as this was our final year, they would get an outside director in, instead of normally it was all in-house. And the outside director was going to audition us all to make us, more prepared for the real world that we would be entering. He didn't know anything about the antiquated have you or have you not had a singing tutorial thing. So he was just casting based on what he saw. So we had an acting audition, we had a dance audition, and we had a singing audition. And my whole attitude was, I have absolutely nothing to lose because they are expecting me to be third bathing costume in the back row. So I went in and I had a fairly good time, and I think the audition went quite well. And I thought, well, maybe I'll get upgraded. Maybe I'll get to play the maid or something, anything better
Someone
than
with a
just,
name. That's not a character.
Yeah. And then I got the role of Nanette. And then the trouble began.
Yes.
So the singing teachers hated me. And, it was literally a hate fest. Mm-hmm. And the head of drama went to the director who'd cast me and said, you can't have her. You've got to have one of the people who's been having a singing tutorial. Why did you pick her? And he went, because she's the best. She was the best in all of those departments. You may have someone who can sing a bit better, but they didn't bring Nanette to the audition. So she's got the part. So there was arguments and stuff, and suddenly I discovered another side of the delightful business of being in drama. Mm-hmm. And some of my class wouldn't speak to me. Wow. And I would just go home and I would cry every night, which, that really kind of wrecks your voice when you cry a lot too. That's not a good thing to do. And I got really nervous because they were like, well, let's hear what you can do then. And I was like, so then I choked. It was
But they're challenging you continually
awful. Now. It was a really stressful, and at the end of it, I thought, maybe I won't be an actor. I don't think I'm tough enough for this. Mm-hmm. I was just really sad about it all. But I had the part, so I had to keep trying to do the best that I could do. Meanwhile, I was really dedicated to writing to as many people, and don't forget it was really writing in those days, writing to as many agents as I possibly could and saying, please come and see me. This is what I'm doing. This is what you may have already seen me in. And I actually got a few agents saying, yes, look, I saw you in that, and I really thought you were good in that, so I'd love to come and see you do something very different. I'm thinking, oh, no. So anyway, one of the agents who came to see me, his name was Terry Carney, and his father-in-law was William Hartnell. So he came and he saw me in the musical, and he wrote down 1 real American, 2 reasonable accents, everyone else rubbish, And that was kind of what he wrote on his notes, because he had me down as a real American. Right. My best friend from school was from New York. My husband was from Virginia. I was very used to the sound, and as a musician, I had the ear for accents, so I'd played a lot of different accents already. So he came and saw the show. He made that note. A week after I finished drama school, on his desk arrives the breakdown of the casting for Doctor Who and the character of Purple Gilliam Brown, which was described as tall, blonde Californian.
Right.
But if you're catching the gist of my casting career, I don't often look like or am the person that they think they're looking for until they meet me. So he rang me up. I'd left drama school, and he said, hello, I'm Terry Carney. And I'd not spoken to Terry Carney. He just acknowledged that he wanted a ticket. And he said, I want you to audition for Doctor Who. Now, meanwhile, I've got a friend in drama school who was a bit of a prankster. A chap called Paul. And I thought, yeah, right.
It's always those people named Paul.
Yeah. So I said, I thought it was him. So I went, very funny, Paul, get off the phone. I'll see you in the pub later. And hung up. Because it just didn't seem real to me at all. And then the phone went again. And he said, I'm not Paul, I'm Terry Carney, and here is my phone number if you'd like to ring me back. And then he hung up.
Touche.
So I rang the number, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I just didn't think this could be real. And so he said, so we had a laugh, and he said, but you don't sound like you did on stage, because actually now you may not hear it, but I am speaking with a slight American accent. You may not hear that, but if I go back, because I'm here, and I'm hearing this sound, so it seems so, if I try and speak completely in an English accent as Nicola, you'll hear there is a difference in that voice. But that's uncomfortable, so it's much easier to speak
however
with
it comes.
a bit of that kind of, I'm now somewhere, I live somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, really, my accent.
Is that what Mid-Atlantic is as a voice
that's
actor? I
that
never really know what that
Mid-Atlantic.
means. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's Mid-Atlantic.
I am the Mid-Atlantic.
Okay.
So I can go into a department store in England and they go, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Love it.
So he said, look, they are not auditioning any British actors. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. He went, but they don't know you. Okay. So he said, so I want you to go in and I want you to be like Nanette. I want you to sound like her, act like her, be like her, because he said, I think they're very similar characters. And he said, you know, if you get the role, which of course was like a 3,000 to 1 shot, if you get the role, I'll take you on, you know, and I'll be your agent. And if not, then I'm not taking on any new people at the moment, but obviously he'd take me on if I got that. Right. So,
Doing you a favor.
yeah.
I like that.
So, yet again, I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. You know, what's the worst that happens? I meet someone who then thinks, oh, she'd be good for this and another thing. And I thought maybe I might get a role as someone who dies before the titles or something like that. But the chances of me actually getting the lead 1 week out of drama school, you know, seemed remote. So I thought, I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to go and have fun. And I enjoyed that. I did a script reading with Eric Saywood, and that seemed to go well. And then they called me back. And then I went and did another script reading with Eric Saywood. And that went well, and they called me back.
Can I ask you, so what was your attitude? You said you went in there and had fun. Did you just kind of like flounce in there like this super fun American girl, like, hey, everybody, so happy to see you? Like, what was your
Well,
persona when you got
My
there?
persona was not like I became dressed as Perry. My persona was a pair of jeans, trainers, sneakers, and an American sweatshirt.
Okay.
Which is how I saw her.
That is fabulous. Okay.
Because I thought she's active, she's running around.
She's in dangerous situations, and all this stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I dressed practically.
That was before we had coined the phrase male gaze, so you didn't know. Like, oh wait, no, I need to put myself through the male gaze and dress.
exactly.
So it's probably a good thing. Yes.
I was thinking practical gaze.
Practical gaze. Right.
So I did about 5 auditions, at which point I was told that it was down to 2 people. Now I'm nervous because now there's stuff at stake. And they came back and they said, the thing is, in those days, you had to have your union card. You had to have an equity card. And I did not have an equity card because I'd only just left drama school. And I hadn't gone to a theater and done, you know, a year's work there or anything. So they said, believe it or not, the BBC did not have equity cards. Okay. So even if you were going to play a major role at the BBC, they couldn't give you a union card to allow you to work. So they said, our second choice, of whom I have no idea who that poor person is, because they never say anything, they said she has an equity card, and obviously she was American or Canadian, either way. But so then I have to go and try and get myself an equity card. Right, so I can't get, normally you have to have 30 weeks on a card to have a proper one. It's like a driving license. You have to drive for so many weeks and this, that, and the other. And So I looked up in the equity handbook how to get a 0 weeks, like provisional equity card. So basically you can only do that through Variety. Oh, we're back to singing again. So I read how to write your own contract. I wrote my own contracts, and I just went out and I tried to get jobs at kids' parties, pubs, wine bars, anywhere. And I would go in and I say, there was a wine bar around the corner from me which had a fabulous Spanish guitarist every Friday night. So I said, not on Fridays, obviously, or even Saturdays, but maybe on Mondays when you're completely dead, would you like someone to come and sing some songs? And he said, oh, I don't think we can afford that, you know. And I was like, well, just sign this contract. You don't actually have to pay me, but I just need you to sign this contract. So some people paid me, some people didn't. Mm-hmm. And I got all my contracts together, and I sent them in to Equity to apply for my equity card. And the BBC had very kindly said, well, you've got like 8 weeks to try and get your card. So I was like, okay, right, so you have to move quite fast. So they used to meet like every once a month on a Thursday and look at all the people applying for cards, and then they'd call you and let you know. So I put all my contracts in, and they rang me up and they said, who wrote your contracts? And I went, I did. How did you know what to write? I went, well, you have a handbook. Mm-hmm. I read your handbook.
Right.
And they were like, nobody reads that. I went, well, I did. That's how I wrote my contract. And they were like, oh, okay. Well, we're looking at it this week, and we'll let you know. I got a phone call from them, which said, sorry, we ran out of time. We'll look at you next month.
Oh, wow.
Which I knew meant I didn't get the job. And I was like, oh, okay, right. And I was like, oh, it's over. All that, I've lost, it's gone. And I hung up, and then I went, and then I got mad, as you'd say. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I thought, no, you can't do this to me. This is not happening. I am not letting this slip through my fingers. So I rang them back up, and I asked to speak to someone from the board, and I spoke to someone from the board, and I said, look, here's the deal. You not even looking at mine means I'm going to miss a possible 3-year contract with the BBC to play like the joint co-star in Doctor Who. And if you do this to me, I am going to go to the newspapers and sell my story, because I will be starving and hungry and I'll need to sell a story.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so the person went, we'll call you back. An hour later, they called me back and they said, we've looked at your contract. You have an equity card, 0 weeks. Good luck. So I had the minimum number of weeks to get it. So then I was able to call my agent and say, great, so now you can tell them I've got an equity card. And then he said, oh, right, yes. Well, they want you to go in again. I was like, oh, no. And I said, I've run out of sweatshirts, I don't know what to wear, And he went, well, just wear a dress. And I was like, okay. So it was summer. I put a summer's dress on, and I went in, and I met with them, and it wasn't to audition again. It was because John just wanted to see the look on my face when he told me I definitely got the part, which was kind of sweet, really. So then I ring my agent. I say, no, I've got it. I've got the part. When do we tell them I'm British? And he said, not yet. Let's just get the contract, sign the contract. Now, I thought, that's a good idea. Yes, let's sign the contract first.
That seems logical. That
Very
far, I'm
logical.
with you.
Totally agree with that. So we're waiting for the contract, and meanwhile, we have to do a little press call, and I'm in a park in London, running around with an American flag and speaking to everyone in an American accent. And I'm thinking, okay, any minute now we'll have signed the contract. It'll all be fine.
Right.
And
How did the questioning go? Because, you know, when I've seen you talk about this before, was anybody ever saying, so what part of Kansas did you grow up in? Or like, was there ever any questions like that you had to dodge?
no, I did. Yes, you're so right. Dodging was exactly what I did. So yeah, the only one was, you know, where are you from? And so I said, well, most of my time in the States, because of course I went to drama school in England.
Yes.
I said had been, you know, around Washington and Virginia, which was completely true because that's where my husband was from. Yeah. I didn't say that that's where I was from.
That's fair. Okay.
I just said that's
where
where
you hung
most
out.
of my time in America had been.
So smart.
So-
Nicole. So smart. Mhm.
And then they said, oh, you're going to be on breakfast TV. So I thought, oh, no. Because I was thinking all my school friends, all my drama school friends, all my batty aunts and my crazy uncles.
All the people
are
from
all
drama
gonna
school that
just-
hated you.
They're all going to ring up and say, she's not American, you know. And I just thought, this is just going to end so badly. And I was like, calling my agent and saying, have we got the contract yet? Have we got the contract? He said, no, I've got the contract for breakfast TV. And I went, no, not that. I need the contract, you know, can we sign the contract for Doctor Who quickly? And so, no, I had to go on and do breakfast TV. So I thought I'll just tone down the accent a bit. So already from the audition, I was like easing it off. And it was all, I spent the whole time, I looked like I'm nervous about being on camera, but I'm just nervous that someone's just going to blow my cover.
Right.
So it must be what a spy feels like, which is why I'd be a terrible spy, you know. And so I did the breakfast TV, nobody rang in, I was still there, and then we signed the contract, and then I rang my agent and said, okay, now we've signed the contract, are you going to tell them before we start filming? And he went, I think maybe you should like do the first episode. And I was like, okay, but you do realize that I'm going to have to spend the whole time just talking in an American accent in the rehearsal room and in the canteen and everywhere I go. He said, yeah, you can do that. You're good. You can do that. And I was like, okay, but, you know, so that one, he then said, I think until we finish this season. So that was all of Peter's and Twin Dilemma. And then we got to Christmas, so I thought, okay, right, I'm now exhausted. All the muscles in my face have changed because I've been speaking with a different accent.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that it made your performance as Perry better because you never got to get out of character for like 18 hours a day during filming? Because sometimes that must have been like those crazy 20-hour days.
I think the thing is that I was Nicola in rehearsal. So Nicola was a more studied character, really, because I had to be Nicola from the USA.
Okay.
So, because I wasn't being Perry in the rehearsal room, I was being Nicola.
Oh.
So
That's a nuance. You're right.
yeah, so it was exhausting, really. I mean,
And then you
utterly
get home and your
exhausting.
husband be like, stop that. Like, would he tell you to turn the
No,
accent off?
no, he was really good about it. He
Okay,
was really
cool.
good about it. Okay. But what happened in the gap was that Colin Baker invited myself and my husband to come and have dinner with him and his wife. So I thought, well, this is lovely. Oh, I can't walk in his house and just be lying to him. That's just awful. Because, you know, it's one thing acting in the rehearsal room. It just, that would feel like a lie. That's a betrayal of a friendship. So when we got to the house, and we knocked on the door, and Colin opened the door, and I went, hello. And he went, oh, you don't have to put on a British accent to come in here. And I went, this is my real voice. And then my husband went, hi. And he was like, oh, but he's American. Yes, I said, he's the American, I'm the Brit. And we went in and I told him the whole story and I said, you're sworn to secrecy, you can't say anything. I'm hoping my agent will tell them for the next season.
But how long,
But-
again, how long did he keep the secret? Not
He kept the secret the
How
whole
long?
time that
Okay.
he was there. Yeah. So he was the only one who knew. So And my agent never, ever told them. Thanks. Thanks, Terry. So I had to come and do conventions in American accent. And in the end, 3 years of that non-stop, I find it the most frightening script I ever get sent is if I have to play British opposite an American.
Oh.
That is really hard work because the face doesn't want to go there. It's going, no, this is the sound. This is the sound where I live. I have to really work hard to sound British opposite someone American. That's really like...
So do you have other character voices that you can do? So is it just American and British that you do, or do you have like a variety of other accents?
Well, I have
that you can
a
do
variety of Americans, not just Perry's.
Okay.
And I didn't, for the first 8 years of my career, ever use my own voice.
Okay.
So everything was either somewhere in America. I did a lot of Tennessee Williams and F. Scott Fitzgerald kind of plays, and I also did Northern. I did a lot of those like that. Like go up to the foot of our stairs, love, and eat that rabbit and dig that hole in the garden, and various different voices and stuff. But the first time I was doing a play and I got the part, and I then said to them, and I think I'd auditioned with a Manchester accent or something, and I said, so what would you like? And he said, actually, I'd really like your voice, and I was like, I don't think I can do that one, because I just like the being in the character.
Right.
That's where I feel most comfortable.
Right.
When people say play someone close to you, I'm like, ooh, no, I don't like that.
So what was your experience, since you're someone who does theater and stage and that, and then also did television? What was your experience going back and forth, and did you have a favorite?
I like change. Possibly that's why I like the variety. So I like the fact that this job is not the same as the next job, and the next job is... And so I like the fact that if I'm doing television, I've just finished a play, it feels fresh. Okay. But it also feels like, I'm going home, it's television. Mm-hmm. And then when I do stage, having just done, a telly series or something, then I think, I'm going home to the stage. So they all feel like this is where I belong.
You are a beautiful chameleon. Of all the people that we had an opportunity to join us, I mean, usually people have to pick a side, or they're like, I'm only doing this in order to do the other thing that I love or something like that. But the fact that you can sink into both, kind of like sitting into a warm bath, is just so beautiful.
It's really comfortable, and I'm glad I don't do one thinking, that I'm doing this in order to do the other. I mean, yes, commercials used to be like that, because commercials are, a slog.
Okay. And why do you find them a slog?
Because there's always the time pressure, and it's you're not a person, you're an item. You're the item that is making this commercial happen. Okay. So yeah, they're hard, and I'm really picky. I haven't done one for 10 years. Okay. The last one I did, the script was by Ridley Scott, and he did the casting. He was on the remote casting. He had a say in who got the part.
What were you selling, or what were you...
I was selling health insurance for an insurance company, but basically they said, no, we need a really good actor because you don't get to speak. You have to be
emote.
Fit and strong and healthy, and then you don't feel well, and then you're going into hospital and you may not survive, and then you come back and now you're healthy again, all thanks to AXA health insurance.
Amazing.
So you had to do the whole journey, and that was enjoyable. Mm-hmm. So I loved the acting of that. And that was great. So that was everywhere. That was all over the television, the internet, billboards, everywhere. But it was shot by Ridley Scott's team, so who cares?
Right.
If it's quality, then I want to do it.
Right. Well, we do like to make our console room panels monopolize dialogue. So if any people that are joining us would like to go ahead and make their way towards the microphone, if you have any accessibility issues, just kind of raise your hand. We'll try and help find you as well. Scott, are you going to help them out and like turn that on for you? Thank you so much. So we'll go ahead and do that. And if you need us to help you out from an accessibility standpoint, go ahead and let us know. We'll try to get as many questions as we have. So why don't we, if you don't mind, go ahead and identifying yourself and saying your name and introducing yourself, and then you can go ahead and tell your question.
Thank you. My name is Ben. What are your memories of working with Patrick Troughton on The Two Doctors?
Oh, yes. I think, thank you for your question.
Thank you.
I had already, by the time we got to do The Two Doctors, felt like I was one of the luckiest companions ever, because I got to work with Peter Davison. And then I got to do a regeneration. And like regenerations, there's a limited number of actors who get to do the regeneration. And then I got to work with Colin. And then I knew I was going to do the Daleks and the Cybermen. I was like, okay, I'm just ticking all my boxes here. I'm getting everything I want. And we'd done Lanzarote, and then it was like, and now you're going to Seville. And I'm like, I got everything. I felt really, really lucky. And then it was like, and you're going to work with Patrick Troughton. And then I'd reach the pinch me stage again, because it was like, wow, I get to work with 3 doctors. This is so lucky. And we had so much fun, so much fun. He was a lovely man, really lovely man. And in the rehearsal room, especially after lunch, he used to like to take a nap. And because we had the wheelchair in the rehearsal room that he's in the story, he would just get into the wheelchair, because most of the chairs were pretty uncomfortable. So he'd get into the wheelchair and go and just nod off in the wheelchair. And Fraser Hines, who's a particularly cruel man, used to run up behind him and go, whee! And just push him in the wheelchair. He'd wake up with a start. And I just go, you could give him a heart attack. Don't do that. And he was like, no, it's fine. He loves it. And he would turn to me and go, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. And then there was this wonderful moment between Colin and Fraser as well, where they would say, Colin said, no. I'm the doctor and I do the funnies. And Fraser was like, no, I do the funnies in my doctor's team. And then they were just like trying to out-funny each other. And basically Patrick and I were the, shall we say, victims? Or recipients, take your word. And so Pat and I became certainly in the rehearsal room, the couple who were always like going, what do you think they're going to do next? I don't know. I don't trust that thing there. Let's stay away from that corner. They've got something going on in that corner. But to work with him as an actor was also just this, he was a consummate character actor. And for me to have the opportunity so early on in my career to get to observe and learn from just watching him was, just a deep honor, as well as him being huge fun. Yeah. So, double blessing. Thank you.
We have a question from our remote attendees. This is from Dr. John Smith. Hi, Nicola. I met you once at Who Fest in Dallas.
Wow.
My question is, what did you think of how Perry had evolved in the Blu-ray trailer you did? I would like to see more of that interesting version of Perry.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I love the fact that all of this sometimes feels surreal. All of it feels like I'm going to wake up and go, oh, I had this dream where I played this character in Doctor Who, and I was still playing it 40 years later, and wow, what a long dream. Oh, wow. And so the fact that now, with the Blu-ray trailers and with Big Finish, I get the opportunity to play an older Perry and Tales of the TARDIS and all of this. It's just such an honor. Right. I mean, it's like last night I was talking about, I've been playing Perry for half my life. And then I went, no, it's 2/3 now. It's 2/3. Wow. 2/3 of my life is Perry Brown. So really, we're twins. It's
Does
like
it feel
a
like visiting
person
an
I
old
take
friend?
with me.
It's
Yeah.
like visiting. Oh,
It's like the bit before Perry, I can hardly remember. It's all just Perry and me, my conjoined twin, And so, yeah, I think it's just so wonderful that they've stretched the timeline, that I don't constantly have to be slightly raising the register of my voice to sound eternally 19.
right.
And I think it's just such a testament to the incredible fandom that they want to make that journey too.
Right.
The fans want to come with you into the future and see, well, how does Perry fare?
Where are
Not
we
just
now?
19-year-old Perry yet, but also where does her life end up? And to have done things like, Perry and the Piscon Paradox and Widow's Assassin and the Blu-ray things, I just feel all the time, I just keep feeling so blessed. And you guys brought me here, and the weather's sunny, and I've had some fabulous walks in the animal sanctuary, and you're all so lovely. It's like, wow. I must have got the 12-leaf clover when it just, you make me cry. You make me feel so happy.
Thank you. We
It's
are
just
so glad to
wonderful.
join you.
You're
Yes,
all
we
so
appreciate
great.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, our friend in the room, if you want to go ahead and make your way to the microphone, what's your question or comment for Nicola?
So I've been making my way through the audio dramas, and I was just wondering if I've been listening to yours with both Peter and with Colin, but I was wondering if you had a particular favorite. Mine is Ish.
Ah, right, yes. The two kind of that I just mentioned, because for anyone who's not got into Big Finish, there is a CD called The Widow's Assassin. Has anyone Widow's Assassin, anyone? Yeah? It's that hot. It causes wow. So yes, Widow's Assassin starts literally from the point where the television series ends. So you don't have to have heard any of the others, even though it wasn't the first one that we did. And what it does is it tells you that question that was nagging. Okay, so she has a brain transplant, she doesn't have a brain transplant. She's gone off to marry Yakanos. Don't you think the doctor should go and check that she's okay? Like, is she all right? I mean, she's basically a teenage kid who's now married a warlord. Maybe he should go check if she's happy or not. And it answers all those questions that we didn't get to answer. And Colin's doctor gets to be incredibly heroic. And it's a really touching, clever, brilliant story. So I love it for answering that and sorting that. So that's The Widow's Assassin. And then the other one is a Companion's Chronicle, which is Perry and the Piscon Paradox, where you get older Perry with the Sixth Doctor and younger Perry with the Fifth Doctor. And the older Perry and the Sixth Doctor are sort of slightly trying to rescue younger Perry and the Fifth Doctor. They've gone back to sort something out.
Okay.
So it's very clever and it's very funny. And you'll laugh a lot, and then it'll get you.
That happens so often.
Yeah.
Thank you for warning us, though. I appreciate
That's all
that.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, friend in the room, if you want to go ahead and make your way to the microphone.
Sure. When the torch was passed from Peter Capaldi to Jodie Whittaker, someone from the BBC made this comment about, well, what a great way to re-energize the series, because Peter wasn't universally loved. And then you posted on Twitter, I'm completely appalled by this utter nonsense, these vicious lies. And Peter Capaldi was or is very much loved as an actor, as a human being, as a doctor. You, however, BBC, are a disgrace. Go to your room, grow up.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. And how close are you, as with doctors, companions? I mean,
I've met Peter Capaldi once in Boston. And he came up and spoke with me, and he was lovely. He came up and said, this is weird, it's happened to me twice, and the other was with Karen, who came up and said, "Oh, I'm a huge fan of yours." And I was like, "Oh, that's just too weird." And Peter Capaldi came up and said, "Oh, I loved watching you in Doctor Who. You know, you're great." And I was like, "Hold on, I'm supposed to be saying this the other way around." But it is that weird thing of we all become friends in a way once we sort of meet, or there's a friendliness to the whole meeting because we are part of this family, and that's just a fabulous feeling. And because although I've not worked with Paul McGann is a great friend, and that is purely through meeting him here. He stayed at my house, and when he was doing a theatre show at a local theatre to me, and I messaged him saying, "Oh, I've just seen that you're coming to my local theatre, and do you have digs or a thing?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And I went, "Well, you're very welcome here." And I got a message back saying, "I just cancelled them, I'm coming to you." So that was great, it was wonderful. And you make these friendships with people you've not worked with, and it's fabulous. But Peter is, I don't know why. Is that just the one person who wrote that article? Why would you write anything that nasty? It's just so unnecessary. Doctor Who is about love and acceptance and kindness. Choose the kindest option. And the person who wrote that clearly did not get what Doctor Who is about, or Doctor Who fandom, or any of that. It was just, I don't try to be confrontational on social media, but obviously
You don't have to try. We're here for it.
I was like, that's terrible. It's a disgrace that the BBC would write that about one of their own doctors.
Right.
I hope he never saw that. It was just foul.
And if he did see it, I hope he saw yours right afterwards.
Well, I hope so. Probably didn't. I don't think he's on social media or anything, which is fine. But, I just thought, sometimes you just got to stand up for the right thing, which I guess I did. I'd completely forgotten about that, so thank you.
I think we're going to be able to get to 2 more questions. So first we're going to go to our virtual visit, and you can just hold on for a second for me, friend. So go ahead, Natasha, what do you have?
All right. I always learn so much at these panels, so I love that this person asked this question. How did you like doing the Star Trek series you did?
I love that as well. I watched it, so anybody else watch it, make some noise if you did in the room. Yes, I like not only waving with a plum. So tell them about that. I thought it was glorious.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love to play a character a little bit different from Perry, so that was great. And a wonderful script. Robert Sawyer, fantastic
And Star
writer.
Trek
continues. Yeah.
But your accent wasn't American in that one at all. No, okay.
No, I had to do my best British, which was hard work. And so when James Kerwin said to me, "Oh, we'd like you to do it with your British accent," I went, "No, don't do that to me." But so it was really huge fun, and I'm a great Star Trek fan. I just thought,
you had those contacts in though. Did you?
No, I didn't, because that was the thing. They sent me the scripts, and I had to go back, and I said, "I would love to play the part of Lana. This is a great role. I really want to do this, but I cannot wear contact lenses."
Okay.
And they went, "Oh, we don't really have the budget for, CGI or any of that." And I was like, okay. It was a bit like the Equity phone call.
Yes.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm sad, And they said, "Well, we'll get back to you." And then they came back and they said, "Look, we so want you, we'll pay the money to do the CGI."
Oh, fabulous.
Which was, wow, incredible.
I have to watch it again now that I know that you weren't in pain.
Exactly, that would have been way too painful. I could not have done that. So that was really fabulous of them, and I so enjoyed it, and I so enjoyed, playing a bit of a villain, and playing, sitting in the captain's chair. Oh yes, and learning exciting things like the buttons on the chair are made from the 1960s ice cube molds. And everything on that set was so completely authentic. I even did some sewing of a costume in the costume department with them, because they were sewing so much stuff by hand, and I went, oh, give me a needle and thread. And I was helping them out with that.
You are a champion.
And I said, I don't know, I don't remember looking. And they said, well, can we credit you? I said, no, credit Nora Brand.
Oh, so you didn't look yet to see if you're there?
Nora Brand was my grandmother, and she taught me how to sew.
Oh.
So I thought that was like,
Love it.
So I think they might have done that. I don't know.
Beautiful. Well,
But,
everybody
yeah.
check that out. If you need something else through the rest of the winter, go ahead and stream that. You'll love it. All right, our friend in the room.
I don't know if you've already answered this question, but what was your favorite episode to film and why?
Okay. Well, I know you have a sister, don't you? Was that B that I just saw? Yeah. And here's the thing. It's B and Zoe, isn't it? You can't say to Dad, do you have a favorite daughter? And I think of all my episodes as my babies. So I love them all for different reasons. Do I know that Caves of Androzani was an exceptional story? Absolutely, I do. And do I feel thrilled and honored to have been a part of that? Absolutely, I do. But I'm not dissing any of my babies. So I have favorite moments in kind of all of them, bits where I go, this was a favorite moment of filming that. But I don't have a favorite. I remember them by how cold I was. That's one of my main gauges as to how much clothes was I allowed to wear and how frozen was I. So they get the warm factor. So of course, Two Doctors rates really highly for that. But I don't have a favorite because at no point, even though I got frostbite and even though I got pneumonia while filming Caves, and even though I scraped the whole of my thighs that were pouring with blood as I fell down the side of a volcanic rock for Planet Fire, and all of these things, even though my hair broke off in a heated tong while they were trying to do it while we were outside doing Revelation of the Daleks. And even when we were filming that and I was doing theater at the same time and I was basically working 20-hour days, there was not a single moment I didn't love. So all the time I just thought, I'm so happy to be doing this, you know. So I'm sorry if that's not giving you the answer that you want, giving you a story, but that's the truth. So I love them all, and I hope you enjoy them all. And each people, ones that are one person's least favorite is another person's guilty secret.
Right.
And that's what is so wonderful too.
And unfortunately, we do have to start wrapping up, but one of the great things about coming to Console Room, if you have the full pass, is that they have other opportunities to see you here on the main stage and doing other things. There are two things I want to ask you about. I did want to talk to you about the hypnotherapy, so if I have to, because I just want to know how you got involved to do that. But before we get to that, and we can wrap on that, to just piggyback onto our friend that was talking about quotes. One of my favorite quotes that I saw in one of the other interviews as I was prepping for this is you were talking about the difficulty today is that everyone's trying to be like a Kardashian, to be famous rather than to have a craft. And I just wondered if you could just expand on that a little bit.
I think
'cause
they
you've
have
done
a
so much
craft. The
work.
craft is marketing. But yeah, I think, I use social media, but social media concerns me because social media is all about look at me, look at me, look at me. And the very fact that I don't even want to act in my own voice is because it's not about look at me, it's like watch the play, get engrossed in the character, in the story. And I use social media to raise money for my charities and for this, that, and the other. But I don't think look at me is a good place to live. I don't think it's good for our souls. I don't think it's good for our friendships. I think social media has great purpose. So if you've got all your relatives are in Australia and you're in a different continent and you can stay in touch with them, that's a wonderful thing. But the idea that it should be that I need to get on there every day and show you exactly what I'm doing, and that gives you more followers than if you do it once every 2 weeks, then that is worrisome if I'm worried about what the numbers say. Because I shouldn't be thinking about the numbers, because that's not a judgment of anything. And so I get worried about that for our own personal mental health. And then I don't like it that this can then dictate. People will ask you when you're doing a play, are you on social media? And now they look to see how many followers you have as to whether, they want to have you in the play. And I'm like, no, surely it's about the best person for the job. Always the best person for the job. Not a tall, blonde Californian, but, a petite, dark Brit girl. Yes. It's got to be about being truthful to the character. So I think it's difficult when we just become the land of marketing and corporations, rather than, for me, I think the most important thing is the power of the ordinary person. We are powerful when we are kind, and we are powerful when we are individuals, and we are powerful when we accept and care. And that's the most important thing. Right. And that applies to whether that's a job or life or anything. And that's where I want us to be empowered, rather than in followers and, stuff like that.
So I always would, when we have a guest of honor that is adept in a variety of things, it's always good to be able to bring up additional things that we do that people may not be as familiar with. So that's why I thought maybe we'd talk to you about the fact that you are a practicing hypnotherapist. Are you doing that, and how did you get involved with that?
I do it a very small amount. It's not like, because the rest of my life's really busy, but I did it for a lot of reasons. Like, I'm also a yin yoga instructor. I don't teach classes and stuff, but if I'm really interested in a subject, I'll go and study it to teaching level, because that's where you get the most information. Fair enough. And I wanted to study in yoga, and so I did that, and I wanted to study the brain, how we influence it, how we can control it, how we can control it to sort parts of our body and this and that. So I studied not like a sort of month course or a 2-week course. I did 18 months at a university course. So it was a really full, in-depth, I do like pre-surgery, I do big stuff. And so I studied that, and almost as soon as I sort of had finished, a friend of mine was going in for some major surgery. And in fact, during the course, just before we took our exam, one of the people on the course, it was mostly doctors and dentists and people like that I was working with. This guy had to go in for surgery, and he came to me and he said, "Nicola, you're the best." And by that, they didn't mean that I wrote the best papers and stuff. They meant I did the voice stuff and the writing of the scripts best. Mm-hmm. I seemed to be able to take people deeper. And so he said, "Would you do some hypnotherapy with me and record some for me? Because if I don't recover twice as fast as they say my recovery is, I won't be able to take these final exams. And then I'll have to wait another year. And I don't want to do that." And I was like, "Yeah, of course I'll do it." And he did. He recovered, and all the doctors and nurses on his ward were saying, "You're recovering really fastly." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, it's because I have this, and you should get people in to do this for your patients," and stuff like that. So, and then I helped a few friends, a friend of mine who was in a particularly vicious relationship, and she didn't have the courage to get out, and so I worked with her, and now she's very happy, and she's out, and she has 4 kids, and she lives independently, and she's now become a fully trained psychiatrist. Beautiful. So she's moved her life on from that. So, but she didn't have the courage to leave her kitchen. And I mean, not because, I don't mean the room, but because she just attached to the fact that she had a very beautiful, very expensive kitchen. And that was kind of the most success she had in her life, if you know what I mean. So I was like, no, sweetheart, you need to be safe. Right. Safety's the thing, not the kitchen, But we went through a long journey with that. But she responded very quickly, and she had spent a lot of time in various very expensive clinics. And had not made the progress that she made with me. So then, of course, she passes me on to another friend. So you end up with just word of mouth clients. I don't advertise, I don't do that. I just take on a few people at a time. And then it occurred to me, because someone had found out and they came and saw me and said, could I do a private session with you and sort this and that? And I arranged some online sessions with them. And I thought, well, maybe, especially because I did my first mass one during COVID. Right. So during COVID, I did a mass online one to raise money for one of my charities, Dogs on the Street, because no one was on the street and no one was putting money to the homeless and stuff like that. So I did an online one. And then I thought, well, maybe I could do it here, with people. So I did one in Boston, and I did a session at LI Who last year, and I geared the whole thing towards Doctor Who, the TARDIS, time travel, and make that the journey that we can all make together to, release some things that we could let go of and embrace some things that would be more healthy for us. Because we all need that, Everybody does. Nobody's perfect in every department of their life. We're humans. We know there's some things we handle better than others. Some things you go, yeah, I can handle instant stress when it happens. I'm good in a crisis. I can't handle long-term stress. Or, we all have these different things where we're better at one part than another. And I think the forming of our characters is the most important thing that we do. It's chiseling away on a piece of stone for the whole of your life, going, well, I'm quite good at this, but I could be better at that. I could, So I think any of these tools that help us to be the best person that we can be are a great thing. And I just love being able to share that when I can.
Well, you are absolutely amazing, and so is that. Everyone, a round of applause, please, for our guest of honor.
Thank you.
I want to say not only thank you to you, but also thank you to everybody that's joining us virtually and all of our plans in the room. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your con. We have plenty of time to build community together, so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Just to say, I know it's not scheduled, but I am going to go outside and sign for anyone who wants, so I'm happy to be there.
Thank you. Nicola Bryant, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I was very excited to talk.